Welcome back to Hoochos. Today on Hoochos, I'm going to walk you through 2 years of my hydroponic grape experiment. In this video, I'm going to show you how I prepared the grapevines for the grow. I'm going to show you the grow media we use for hydroponic grapes, as well as training methods and my recommendations after 2 seasons of growing hydroponic grapes. Okay, so the reason I bought these pots is because they're recycled plastic, but they're thick as all hell, and they're gonna last a long time. They also have the aesthetic that I like, and they are a lighter color because I don't want the root ball to get too warm. Just make sure that they're about 50 to 60 centimeters across. The media we're going to be using is scoria and cocoa. Scoria, which is a volcanic stone, and it is hydroponically inert, as well as a hydroponic grade of cocoa. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to fill up one pot and see how much it takes. 2 bags of cocoa and 2 bags of scoria per each pot. Now the reason I'm doing this mixture is because my dragon fruit, it is in the same mixture essentially. It's a 50-50 cocoa scoria mix, and it is absolutely thriving. Now, I've got it on some authority that grapevines don't particularly like to be watered at all. So the watering method that I'm using here is what I'll be using for the grapevines, which is just a water from overhead with a watering can or a hose with hydroponic nutrient. That is the method that I'll be using for the grapes as well. That's also going to mean that I can control the amount of irrigation that's happening to the grapes, especially in the fruiting times, because I want to be able to stress the grapevine. Grapes fruit when they're stressed, and the control over irrigation times is something that we want to achieve. Okay, so now I'm just going to be mixing up my scoria and cocoa. And one more thing I want to do is I want to create more drainage in the bottom of our pots. And to do this, I'm just going to be drilling a hole in the bottom. Like so. Interestingly, I just had an idea. If I don't drill these out, I can use them as a reservoir. I'm going to do one that has holes and drains, and I'm going to do the rest with no holes. If they start to fill up with water, I'm going to place these pots within it, and they are going to wick up. So I'm going to fill up these pots and drop them into the bigger pots. This is the structure that I'll be setting up the pots underneath. I'm going to have the vines climb up the poles and over the top of this patio. Okay, so I'm now going to fill up some of the pots full of 50-50 scoria cocoa. So here we have Pinot Noir grapevines. I just bought them from a nursery. They come as rootstock. Pull them out like so, and you can see these are our vines. And they're rooted out, which is fantastic. And there's no soil on them, which is also great because we're transferring them to hydro. They've started to bud already, so they're healthy as. We're gonna make a divot as deep as the first node that has roots. I'm just gonna drop it in, like so. Like that, done. And I'm going to top it off with scoria. There it is. That's our first one planted. The reason I'm covering the top in scoria is because the cocoa will hold onto the nutrient solution. The top, it'll be moist with nutrient, and that is a recipe for algae. Whereas the scoria will let all the water and nutrient pass through it without really being moist. Okay, so before I do this, I'm just foreseeing the problem I'm gonna have with the ones with no holes. So I'm gonna choose a place on the side where I'm gonna put a hole. This is the one with holes. I'll put it here, and our plant can just drop directly into it. As for these pots, I'm gonna put a hole in the side, and then if it rains or something, I'm not stressing about the pots filling up. Just gonna measure up 2 inches. I'm gonna put 2 inches. I can take the rest of my grapes and put them in my pots. And now I'm just going to water them in with hydroponic nutrient. This is 2.4 EC and 5 to 6.5 pH, full strength. This is my Campbell's Diamond Spec Tea. We're just going to introduce them directly to hydroponic nutrient. This is another reason that the scoria on top is good, because it allows you to just water into it a ton of nutrient in really fast without disturbing any of the cocoa that would be there. There we go. That's most of a watering can, and I'm going to do that for each. And as you can see on all of them, we've filled them up, and the overflow at the back is just running out like that. That means we're going to have some really nice grass forming around the base of these pots. But yeah, they all look really nice. They're all completely full of nutrient, and they have that base 1.5 inches of nutrient as well. Just so they wick up to start with. We'll look at some kind of automation in the future, but I think this will be fine. I think this will be absolutely fine. All right, so after 9 days, we started to see the first leaves appearing on all of our vine transplanted cuttings. And after 15 days, even more growth with our first vine runners and tendrils, which we can now start to assess how we're going to train them. At this point, I'd just been watering them, top feeding them with hydroponic nutrient. Now, if I were to do this again, I would have just used the Campbell's Diamond White premix in a watering can, using the automated shot technique, which allows you to nutrient dose 30 ml shots into watering cans for exactly 10 liters, where a watering can is 9 liters. So it gives you a really quick and easy way of measuring out those watering cans, so you can then shot your nutrient and your calcium nitrate, as well as your pH adjuster, into the watering can, and then just walk out and water your plants. At 32 days, I used 30mm screw-in eyelets at the top and the bottom of the posts for string to train the vines up. For the string, I just used the tomato twine, and I just wrapped the vine around, let it grow up, and wrap its tendrils around the tomato twine itself. So you don't particularly need to use tomato clips, even though I do a bit later in the video. And this is probably the point I should have started pruning the runners that are not the main runner going up our vines. Okay, so we've had a ton of rain, which is great. You can see how green the place is looking. All of our vines are throwing off runners, but I don't want the runners, I only want the main runner. So as you can see, I've attached them to, this is actually the tomato hook string. I just wanted to give them something to run up. You can see, especially with these two, they've got some really large ones that I should have tackled a bit earlier. And I'm just gonna remove these. We want it to concentrate on this shoot here. And as you can see, this one, because it had so much growth down here, hasn't grown as much as say this one. It wasn't expending energy on stuff that I didn't want. And same here, I really should have taken this off earlier. All right, let's let them grow. So at day 50, you can see we've got a ton more growth. I removed all of the cat mesh from the patio. It actually used to be a catio, and I wanted to open it up for the vines. This is at 127 days of growth, and it's about 3/4 grown. I didn't get a final shot of the growth, unfortunately, but this is in winter when it had all died back, and I am cutting back the vines right back down. Like, don't be afraid of cutting them right back and getting rid of all that dead growth. I actually saved a few of the cuttings so I could propagate more. Okay, so I actually kept a bunch of cuttings from when I cut these back in winter, and you can see there's still dead stuff up there, but we've got budding happening. So this is a 2nd year budding, and it's on all of them. You can see the bud coming out there, and over here we've got another one. Where is it? There. That's the bud. They're all alive still. They do look dead, but this is very much alive. You can see I just pulled back a little bit of bark here just to show you. You can see there we've got green. So We're going good. This is the second year. This is very exciting. Maybe grapes? Who knows? So the grapes are starting to shoot again. So I'm just coming along. I'm just going to select one to go up. So I just cut all the little ones off. Like so. And take all the side shoots from this one too. And then we can tie it up. And I'm going to go and do that for all of them as they progress. This one's just the most advanced. Take that one, 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 that one, that one. And will you have a look at that result? I'm actually stoked at how these just aesthetically look in general. We've also got a bunch of fruit set, although not as much as we will have in coming years. These plants are about 16 months old. I planted them in October of last year and it is now mid-December. So, well, 14 months old. They've gone through 2 grow cycles. So the initial growth, it got to about half the size that they're at, or maybe the same size that they're at now, and with no fruit though. And then this current growth, which has yielded some fruit. Now, these are Pinot Noir vines, so they are actually wine grapes. I haven't tried them yet, so I'm gonna give them a try. I'm sure they'd be absolutely terrible to eat. Not terrible. Very seedy though. Very sweet. Like, look at the size of the seeds in them. I was actually made to believe that these would be really bad to eat, but they're not too bad at all. They're very, very sweet. They've almost got a tartness to them though, as well. Very seedy though. Okay, I'm actually quite impressed with the sugar content of those. They're gonna ferment really well. So, I do want to talk to you quickly about the differences in the styles here, because these 3 pots were all watered, drained to waste, but they have a reservoir of water underneath them. And from these pots, we get really nice consolidated bunches of grapes. However, this one at the end, interestingly, this pot I drilled holes in so that it just drained straight through. And I think it dried out a bit more. It actually produced more leaf and stem growth. This one grew a lot faster when I was keeping up with the water. However, you can see the grape pattern on it. I actually just think that there wasn't enough water provided to the plant, because when I'd top it up, the water would just drain through, so it would have less buffering. And when it would rain as well, so you've got this like compounded effect of just not enough water, I think. The nutrients are fine. The plant is healthy as. I think this is just a lack of water thing. And with that in mind, I think that a system like this would benefit from continuous but not overwhelming amounts of nutrients. So something like the Grow Spike and Rain Gutter Grow system underneath these pots would provide a passively wicking similar amount of nutrients to the drain to waste system that I have here. And when those systems are outside, the rain actually washes the excess nutrient through the pots and out, so that you never have a buildup of nutrient. All of the old nutrient is washed away. It's actually a fantastic answer to buildup of nutrients in cocoa. The Grow Spike is super versatile. As you can see here, we have a bunch of pineapples that we planted a couple of years ago now in the Grow Spike hydroponic system. These bromeliads are all producing fruit, which is absolutely incredible, and I do not touch them at all. That Grow Spike just feeds straight into them. So hydroponic grapes, you can absolutely do it, and you can get a really nice result. You will require some kind of structure to grow them up like I have here, but this amount of grow media has yielded a really good result, and I think we're going to get more of these results year on year as the plants mature, and maybe even we upsize the pot to give them more root space. All right, happy hydroponicking, and I will see you next time on Hoochos. Good boy. Hey? What are you doing?